mean, St. Louis, if you look it up online, it's one of the most segregated cities in America.
We pay over 40% of the city budget for the school and for the police, and you hired trash.
My ex-husband is a school teacher. Year after year there are shootings, and it's like, when is it going to be his school and what's going to happen?
Shots fired!
And that's a terrible feeling.
The city didn't see any need to really develop that area because it's the area where Black and brown people live.
Just boom, 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 boom. I watched the blood and him cool to be undifferentiated.
Many people always say that, you know, Hurricane Katrina was like a natural disaster, but it was very unnatural in its impact and like in its follow-up.
That week alone, before killing St. John God, 8 people died. Like they died like in my arms because I had no more Narcan.
No te tratan como persona, te tratan simplemente como un negocio. Simplemente somos un objeto para poder obtener dinero.
Nueva York, lo único que tiene de Walt Disney es que la mamá de Mickey te pasa por los pies.
This is an old city, and the problems that exist with water infrastructure is over 100 years old. And the city didn't see any need to really develop that area because it's the area where Black and brown people live. So we've had to deal with the issues of water, high water bill, I want to say toxic water because it is toxic if it has lead in it. We've had to deal with many things in this crumbling infrastructure.
Jackson has definitely been in a hot topic in the news cycle. The resiliency of Jackson, of the Black people here who have known the city's water system is failing and has been failing for years. And this isn't a new occurrence. There has been systemic boil water alerts.
Today's times, water is actually a necessity. I'm finding myself needing to replenish my supply way more than I did before. I have to use the water to brush my teeth, definitely use it to cook with. If I wanted to make something to drink or anything that I'm going to ingest on the inside of my body, I definitely have to use water for that. I would probably use the tap water to clean the outside of my car because I know that's not anything I'm going to ingest. Like I say, sometimes they say that the water can be used to bathe with, but that's not necessarily consistent as well because there have been times where the water pressure in my house would be a little too low, and then I go check the faucets or go check the toilet, and then the replenishing water will kind of come up a little dingy color. So based off of that summation, I don't think that I would want to use the water coming from the faucet on my skin as well.
Most people don't have clean water that comes to the pipes. Even with a filter, they say it still has some lead in it, so it's pretty much not usable. They say you shouldn't even really brush your teeth with it. We can't really afford to stockpile water. I think most people can't. It's a real privilege to be able to get a lot of something, you know? It's a basic human right that a lot of people just aren't really getting. So some people can't shower as often, or they can't cook food for themselves in their house. Because it does have health issues too. Like, even if you're just showering with it, it will have a long-term effect on your health. The longer you use it, the more it builds up, honestly.
As people migrated out of Jackson proper and to the outlying counties or whatever, we call that white flight, they left the city in shambles. That means the tax base left Jackson and went on the outer skirts of Jackson. So those of us who still stay here, those Black and brown people who stay here, property values and everything dropped.
There is an intersectionality of one, environmental justice, climate justice, and racial justice. And I think that this moment in the city of Jackson, making sure that if these crises in climate are to happen over and over again. We will be in this moment again in the winter when the pipes freeze over and bust because they are, more than 100 years old. Everyone, just by right of existing, should be able to contribute to a space that produces clean and adequate water, potable water to bathe, water to drink, to do your everyday.
We cannot get the representation that we need. You're taking our tax money and literally giving it to other communities that are thriving. That leaves us left wanting. We have issues with poor schools. In fact, in this neighborhood and probably a couple of blocks over, there are about 3 neighborhood schools that have been closed down that were once vibrant schools. We're having problems with getting funding for education and all of that. And that ties into the water as well, because the thing that runs through it is the financing to fix the infrastructure, which is non-existent.